Good afternoon or good morning, depending on what part of the world you're in. This is the Roaming Prepper Channel. I'm your host, Pete, and today I will be bringing you the situation report. Again, for those of you who followed me for a while now, this is what I used to do Saturdays. Schedule changes happened, and so now they're Monday afternoon. In any case, wanted to bring you some news from around the world. For those of you who are new, thanks for joining us. Just for everyone's education, the way we go is we go by regions of the earth, and then from each region, geo region, if you will, of the world, we then go through the countries in alphabetical order. This is a compilation from State Department, government, commercial, civilian companies, as well as open source news. And it's a report, one of many reports I get because of what I used to do. I'm still on the list because I'm still with the same company, just in a different role. And I'm sharing what I can with you guys so you're aware of what's going on in the world, because what happens in another country could affect us. And it's important for us to understand that and also to understand trends. If we start seeing instability in the smaller countries, for a certain reason, it usually leads to other things. I've referred to these in videos from a couple of years ago as precursors, or the canary in the cave for more common layman's terms. You see certain countries under the stress of inflation, supply chain, a pandemic, war, whatever malady is falling them, how they start to react could be a reflection of how we in the West would also react. So, with no further ado, I'll get to it, and I hope everyone's doing well. So, starting in the African continent, Congo, Rwanda backed rebels claim to have seized a second airport in East Congo. This has been an ongoing thing. If you've been listening to the situation report for about a month and a half now, there's been some conflict between Rwanda and the Congo. I meant to look and see if there was a resource that was being fought over, whether it was diamonds, gold, precious metals. I'm curious, for instance, if Rwanda's rebels who are being backed by Rwanda may be getting funded by Russia or China. Maybe it's the Congo that's getting funded by Russia or China. I don't know. I don't know if the French have their hands in any of this, because the Congo used to be the French colony, if I'm remembering correctly. So this could be the beginning of an extended proxy war that we're not aware of yet. So I'll be looking into that a little bit more. Also, the M23 rebels seized two more towns as president seeks support abroad. Rwandan-backed rebels. This is another one. These are both from Associated Press and Yahoo News, respectively. Rwandan-backed M23 rebels fighting in eastern Congo seized two more towns on their march toward a provincial capital, as the president seeks international support to end the crisis. Then in Zimbabwe, 24 killed in bus truck collision. If you're traveling to some of these countries, the roads are horrendous. We take our roads for granted. And granted, our roads, we have some awful accidents on them. If you've ever been stuck on I-10 or I-30 going through Texas, Oklahoma, and it gets a freeze, and people aren't used to driving in that, they just have wrecks everywhere. But theirs are pretty bad because they'll have an accident and like a whole bus will go off a cliff. It's just absolutely insane. Um, this was reported by Africa News. And that was it for Africa, the Congo being the big story there. East Asia and Pacific, Australia, emergency bushfire warning is still active for Carina as Zihan locals warned it's not safe to return another wildfire. But this one's in Australia. Firefighters are continuing to tackle several bushfires, threatening towns and burning through tens of thousands of hectares of Tasmania's west coast. Then in South Korea, also Asia Pac, that was from ABC News, by the way. South Korea to limit power banks on flights following a fire. Can't talk. Following plane fire, and that's from Reuters News. South Korea on Thursday announced strengthened aviation safety measures following a fire on an Air Busan plane last month, saying the rules would include limiting the number and type of portable batteries allowed on the country's airline. This one's a little close to home because I travel. Sometimes I travel with a drone. Sometimes I travel with, power packs for my phones. Rechargeable, basically things to recharge other stuff, various power packs and battery packs. I have to carry all of that in my carry-on luggage. I cannot check it in. So I actually have to open my drone before I even pack, pull the batteries out, and those go in my carry-on. And the way the American airlines are set up, the US airlines in general, is they have amenities that if I have a cabin fire, like my battery catches fire in my lap, I can say, hey, the battery's on fire. They have the chemicals to put it out right then and there. Whereas if it's in the belly of the plane, nobody can really get down there in a coherent manner. And that'll force the plane to land somewhere. So probably a good idea. I'm kind of surprised South Korea has not already done this, but it doesn't stipulate if the fire happened in the cabin or outside. I'm suspecting it was in the cargo hold, but we'll see. Moving on to Europe. This was a kind of a light day today. Oh, so Europe, Germany, prosecutors see an Islamic extremist movement in the Munich car ramming attack. Everybody kind of knew that. The suspect in a car ramming attack in Munich that left more than 30 people injured appears to have had an Islamic extremist motive, but there's no evidence he was involved in any radical network. That's from the Associated Press. They actually got this guy alive. Believe it or not, apparently after he ran over a bunch of people, he tried to run and fight with, I don't know, a sword or a knife or something. And the Germans beat his ass and the cops took him, and that was the end of that. Um, this is definitely an interesting thing. We've seen a lot of vehicle attacks lately. My fear is at some point they will put something further in one of these vehicles to make the catastrophe even worse. What we're seeing now is, to me, honestly, again, it goes to the precursor movement. We're seeing precursor events. They'll radicalize someone and send him on a mission, and somebody else is watching the response. Let's put it like that. The guy in the car, he's just, Allah, Allah, and Allah Akbar, and he goes and attacks, whether he's Allah Akbar or Nazi or communist. These radicals are the same. My fear is he's going to go every time they do one of these attacks. New Orleans, Vegas, and Vegas was kind of weird. This one in Germany, this is one of several now. They had one on Christmas Day in, was it Berlin or I can't remember where, Austria? Shoot. But in any case, I have a feeling somebody's watching the responses. They're watching the videos after the fact, going, how could we have increased the fatality count? How could we have made more damage? How could we have gotten into something um, more devastating, like a power plant or a dam? It's only a matter of time, in my eyes, before one of these probing attacks, which is what we're witnessing, becomes something more. So let's keep an eye on that as well. Of course, if you're in an open market, open spaces, pay attention to vehicle traffic and people around you. Don't sit there on your phone in the middle of a street, even if the street is closed down for pedestrian traffic, like New Orleans was. Don't sit there on your phone looking down in the oblivion. If you're out in the street, look up, eyes up. If you got to check your phone, get off the street, put your back to a wall and check your phone there, or go into a store, go into a business and check your phone in one of the bars or in a restaurant or cafe. Don't sit there on your phone with your eyes down and no awareness around you. I can't emphasize that enough. In any case, moving on to Europe now. Um, Europe, Germany, prosecutors. Oh, sorry, wrong one. Just read that one. That was from Associated Press, by the way. Russia, Ukraine. Russian drone struck Chernobyl reactor shell, but radiation levels normal. That's according to ABC News. A Russian drone with high explosive warhead hit the protective confinement shell of the Chernobyl nuclear plant. Now, I have a problem with this one. This is reported by ABC because I've heard that it was a Ukrainian drone going the other way that hit the plant. So I don't know who hit what. And again, if you're trying to sabotage a peace accord, Ukraine is not happy with the fact that Trump and Putin are talking directly. Would I put it past Ukraine or someone, even another UN player, to do something like this separately, to sabotage a peace talk? I wouldn't put it past them, right? There's billions, trillions of dollars in war, whether we all want to admit it or not. And this is a big money battle right now. Uh, I got my questions as to who did what, but again, down a rabbit hole that I'm not going to go to today. Moving on, Middle East and North Africa. Lebanon bars Iranian flight from landing in Beirut, sparking protests. A group of Lebanese citizens protested on the road in the Beirut Rafik Hariri International Airport. That was a mouthful. On Thursday, after Lebanese civil authority told the Iranian Mahan air flight that it could not land in Beirut. I don't know what the protest was about. I don't know why the plane couldn't land. That gives zero context. This is the Al Monitor. You could look it up if that area is of interest to you. Morocco's livestock hit with consecutive droughts, agriculture minister says. Morocco's cattle and sheep herds have decreased by 38% compared to the last census 9 years ago due to consecutive droughts, according to the agriculture minister. That's reported by Reuters. So that's interesting that the U.S. is losing chickens, sheep, and cattle. Now, the Middle East, Morocco, those places also seeing repeated droughts. Um, there was once upon a time I would say, no, they can't manipulate rain like that. They could only screw with it. But now I'm beginning to wonder what the hell's going on. That there seems to be a lot of focus on reducing the availability of cattle, availability of livestock. Get everyone on those roach protein bars like they did in the movie Snowpiercer. If you haven't seen that, watch it. And yeah, trust me, it'll make you think once you watch that movie from one end to the other. Okay, moving on. South and Central Asia. The only one I have for here is Sri Lanka from Reuters. Sri Lanka scrambles to restore power after a monkey causes island-wide outage. Okay, I did not expect that. I hadn't read these before I came online. Sri Lanka extended power cuts for a third day as it scrambled to restore its national grid to full capacity after a monkey triggered a widespread blackout I'm sorry, that's not funny. Over the weekend that disrupted supply to the island's 22 million people. If your power grid can get taken down by a monkey, by a primate goes swinging through and hits a transformer, and bang, there goes the monkey, and there goes the grid, you have a problem. Oh my God. All right, that was funny. I hadn't, like I said, I had not read these before I came online. I don't usually get things like that. That's from Reuters News. I have to do a whole separate video now on monkey takes down power grid. Okay, where's my, haha. We'll mark that one. We'll be making a video of that later if I have time. Okay, moving on. Western Hemisphere. Um, Western Hemisphere, most Latin American migrants no longer go to the United States, according to The Economist. Between 2015 and 2022, the number of intra-regional migrants in Latin America and the Caribbean soared to nearly 7 million to almost 13, so it almost doubled. Over the same period, the number of migrants from the region living in the U.S. increased by only 1 million. So we got more, but not proportionately more to the number of people moving. So that's interesting. Argentina inflation hits 5-year low in win for Milei. Argentina's monthly inflation rate dropped to 2.2% in January, its lowest since mid 2020, after Libertarian President Javier Milei took office just over a year ago, ushering in austerity measures and helped stabilize the embattled economy. Argentina has prolific oil and gas, prolific minerals, manufacturing, a decent infrastructure. It's an old country, like the cities are very old, like 200 years old, like New York. Um, a very heavy European influence, German, Italian, and French after World War II moved to Argentina. So it's very eclectic. It's actually a really amazing country. The people are phenomenal. If I get run out of Texas, Argentina is on my list of places to go to. But they've been run by communists, essentially socialists, for so long. Millet flipped that over, and he cut from 27 government agencies to 10. Kind of what we're seeing here. And the prices went up in the short term. First few months, people freaked the hell out. And then he got it under control. The guy's actually quite brilliant. He's got multiple advanced degrees, and he created a corporation out of nothing. So he's a very interesting guy, very weird as shit when you listen to him. And his hair is crazy. He looks like someone zapped him as a kid. But that's interesting. So yeah, I guess if we all get run out of the US and Canada, we can go to Argentina and make a prepper family over there. Anyway, moving on. Canada. How will Canada's next prime minister be chosen? This is a Q&A from Reuters. Canada's ruling Liberal Party is choosing a new leader to replace Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, who said in January he was stepping down after growing dissatisfaction over his performance. The result will be announced March 9th. So let's see if they get a little bit closer to the middle. If they learned anything from the US election. If they don't, they're going to have other issues, I'm sure. That's from Reuters. Colombia's peace talks in crisis after the arrest of negotiator. Colombia reports. That's the news. Peace talk between Colombia's government and multiple illegal armed groups entered a crisis after prosecutors arrested a guerrilla commander after suspending a warrant for his arrest. That's probably not a good way to have a negotiation with a rebel group, is to arrest their negotiator. I don't know what they're thinking. We'll see how that pans out. Ecuador president names new finance minister, confirms interim oil minister. That's just from Reuters. Ecuador's president, Daniel Noboa, has named Luis Jaramillo as the country's new finance minister and confirmed interim energy oil minister Inés Manzano in her post. So a lot of countries putting new people in place. Maybe that's a good thing because things weren't working the other way. Haiti is a hot mess. Don't go to Haiti. Associated Press. Haiti's shuttered main public hospital is set on fire in latest attack on the institution. Haiti's main public hospital, which remains shuttered after multiple gang attacks, was set on fire Thursday. We've sent troops to Haiti in the past. The Brits have, the French have. I think the UN's going there now. What's funny is Haiti splits that island with the Dominican Republic, and there's like two different worlds the way it's set up there. So it's really sad. It could be an amazing country. It's a beautiful place, but it's been destroyed. And then lastly, Mexico, 6 Mexican cartels to be potentially designated as terrorist groups. Mexico News Daily. This is from Mexico News Daily. The Sinaloa cartel and the Jalisco New Generation cartel are among 6 Mexican organized crime groups thought to be potentially designated as foreign terrorist organizations. Now that changes the rules of engagement for a lot of these entities, what the U.S. can and can't do. The Mexican government doesn't like that because it also indirectly states, it's not explicitly, it's implicitly, that we could decide to send a Reaper over there and just obliterate a safe house, or send an Apache over there and shoot up part of their country, which is frowned upon. What I do find interesting is right now, not only are we securing our borders, but we have Canadian troops now on the northern border and Mexican troops on the southern border. A lot of people are saying, oh, we're going to get invaded. I don't think so. They can barely keep their own shit together, much less come and fight with us. However, what I do think is that it speaks to the seriousness of what's been going on and the fact that nobody has done anything for years. And now it's all happening at once. It's a bit of a shock to the system. You're going to see a lot of people get outraged. They're going to be angry. I'm hearing people telling me that I'm going to get deported, which is absolutely retarded. But they say these things because they don't know how else to react. Folks have their head in the sand, and I think the preppers speak about it. Whether you agree with my political viewpoints or not, we all agree that things are not always stable, and that's why we're preppers. And folks they're in denial. They just don't want to see it. And I think that, my friends, is probably the biggest threat to all of us, is the unprepared, the hordes of zombies, so to say, that could come out of the woodwork and cause us problems. So keep doing what you're doing. Stay on budget. The inflation's still not great. It's going to take some doing to get that under control. Until that happens, look for sales. Look for anything that will fill the gaps in what your preps may or may not need to be, and try to do it at a discount if you can. I'll try and post any sales. I posted one the other day about a Jackery that was about half the price it should be. There are a lot of products like that. I'm not favoring one over the other. I'm just pointing out these things are on sale. This is a good time to get into one of those. If you haven't, you've been putting it off. Split pay it on Amazon if you can, or if you put it on a credit card, pay it down, schedule it out, and say, okay, it's $200. I'm going to pay $50 a month and kill it in 4 months. Instead of paying the minimum, you have a lot less interest rate you're going to be paying. over that period of time if you pay it quickly and you fill the gap you may need. Again, if a monkey could take down the grid of a 22 million person nation, we may want to have preps for that too. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, be good, be safe, God bless. I will see you on the next video.